Now, joining us from Washington is Solon Simmons, professor of conflict analysis and resolution at George Mason University. He specializes in politics, U.S. politics, and as far as we know, has checked his shoes at the reception desk. How's that for conflict quickly resolved?
Well, Scott, this was, I think, as far as I know, a unique event in presidential history. We haven't had sartorial assaults before, and this is an interesting one. It at least says there's a bit of a translation problem in taking what George Bush called the blessings of a free society and translating them into the Iraqi case. These kinds of assaults are probably not what we mean by freedom of the press. What an amazing moment, and I think that we at least see a threshold has been passed where someone is able to sneak in to an event like this. And boy, he was good with his shoe. They almost look like baseballs. I wanted to see George Bush with a bat and see if he could knock a few out of the room. But a really amazing event, and I think it shows the mixed emotions in Iraq and how hard it is to make any kind of assessment of what has happened after this whole event and adventure in Iraq.
Now, the suspect was quickly brought to heel, but all kidding aside, considering how deep presidential security is, this is pretty serious stuff.
It is, and you do worry a little bit about the reporter, what it was that drove the man to do this and how it could have happened that he could have been moved in. But you remember that the hanging of Saddam Hussein was also recorded. It seems like security is just a problem, and it's hard to know who's a friend and who's not in Iraq, and that seems to have been the problem from the start. There are those who are divided who feel that this is still a liberation of Iraq and those who see this as an invasion. So the idea that the United States is going to pull out now is welcome. At the same time, people don't know what they want in Iraq and what's going to replace the American presence.
Are there going to be any questions at all about the Secret Service?
Well, I'm not so sure. It was a shoe. It reminds me of the shoe bomber. And now that we all have to remove our shoes as we go on the plane, I hope that isn't true in press conferences now. But that was the deadliest type of attack that the reporter could make. And it was a reporter. Quite strange to see. I imagine that there'll be quite a bit of conversation. Every new assault brings some new security measure.
Now, not so long ago, we had some incidents in Canada where former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien had to, he was pied, first of all, and he was also forced to get a protester out of the way by grabbing him by the head. George Bush showed a lot of quick moves here.
Aplomb. Yes, this is George Bush at his best in words. People really despise George Bush, clearly enough of them to do something like this. But he ducked well. He's the athletic president who exercises an hour a day, supposedly. And also, I think it shows a bit of grace under pressure. So this event will crystallize George Bush's adventure in Iraq, but also the character, this ability to react well under fire. A little Reagan-esque, interestingly enough, in my view, his ability to shake it off and laugh. So we'll remember this for a long time, I'm afraid.
I got to ask you this. When you first saw these images, what went through your mind?
Well, it was quite funny, and I kept thinking about what a good shoe thrower the guy was. But also, I was thinking about how difficult it is to move forward. I mean, Obama now has to do something in Iraq, and the idea is to get out. And ironically, today's trip to Iraq was an attempt to celebrate the removal of U.S. troops. And so I think it's not exactly clear what kind of policy the United States pursues in Iraq. Is it going to be something like clearly not Rumsfeld's a revolution in military affairs approach where you use technology to get the job done? But what do? Do you just leave it to this kind of tumultuous emotional scene? Not exactly clear, so we're going to have to watch over the next few years if Obama can do any better, if he'll have a shoe thrown his way.
Solon Simmons from George Mason University, thank you very much for walking us through this.
Okay, thanks, Scott.